All right, unresolved U.S. TikTok ban affects mobile gaming as well. Apps CapCut and Lemonade were similarly shut down. There was an update to this story today at 1:31 p.m. Marvel Snap developer Second Dinner updated players on the state of Marvel Snap, tweeting, quote, "We're actively working on getting our service back up in the U.S. and expect everything to be fully restored within the next 12 hours," end quote. So I don't really specify beyond the fact that their games were canceled for a short amount of time what exactly was the state of them. There you go. Continuing on, this past Saturday, TikTok and other apps owned by Chinese tech company ByteDance began to shut down in the United States in accordance with a ban signed by soon-to-be former President Joe Biden. The inauguration is going on probably right now, so
It's already over.
it's already over. It already happened. So
Yeah, it happens
at the
every
time.
Yeah.
That's changed by ever since then, but back in late April of 2024. The actions were reversed hours later on Sunday following assurances from future President Donald Trump, now president, that the app will remain available to U.S. users once he officially assumes office. Unexpected impacts of the ban in the mobile gaming sphere led to the unavailability of publisher titles, including Universe's Marvel Snap and Moonton's Mobile Legends Bang Bang, with both companies being owned by ByteDance. Prior to the ban taking effect, TikTok was to divest itself from ByteDance if it had any hope of continuing to operate in the U.S., and despite offers to purchase, the platform ByteDance refused to sell. Trump's previous history with TikTok, including issuing a vague sweeping ban of the platform in August of 2020, followed by a familiar second order for ByteDance to divest itself from TikTok. Legal cases would be swept aside once Biden assumed office that same year, but 2 years later, the next year, my mistake, but 2 years later, interest renewed beginning in June of 2022 when BuzzFeed News reported that U.S. users' data had been accessed from China. Following nearly 2 years of opposition from TikTok against the notion they act as an agent of the Chinese government, the House of Representatives would pass a ban of the company, followed shortly by the Senate and onto the president's desk. Donald Trump would later make this tweet where the day before his inauguration, you don't have to read the whole thing. The day before his inauguration, Trump posted on Truth Social urging companies, quote, to not let TikTok die. Can you go down a little bit? Oh, yeah, that's just for people who are like, yeah. It sums it up down there. Further, yeah. The day before his inauguration, Trump posted on Truth Social urging companies to, quote, to not let TikTok stay dark, end quote, before confirming an executive order to be issued Monday to extend the window TikTok has to remain active by 90 days. Trump goes on to propose a joint venture in which the U.S. would own 50% of TikTok, Trump reiterates his stance at a Sunday rally in D.C., as seen below. ByteDance has yet to respond to Trump's offer of a joint venture, although TikTok publicly thanked Trump for his decision. So it's still up in the air because it's just an extension of the ban. But as it stands right now in U.S. politics, and some of you who watch this might not be involved in this all that much, you're fair to stay away from it because it's not the most relevant thing for
Well,
you.
it don't make us happy. We
Yeah.
not happy.
But it's beneficial to take something that was overwhelmingly, disliked or at the very least confusing as to why they're singling out TikTok due to the fact that, yes, they did leak. There was information that potentially was leaked to China. But the problem is that U.S. companies are guilty of the exact same thing, and the standards here are different solely because it's held by a Chinese company and it's not a U.S. oligarch.
And let's be honest, the TikTok ban is not about national security
It is
or
not,
the
no.
safety of U.S. citizen information. That's not what it's about. This is about censorship, control of information, and keeping the United States citizens blind to the atrocities that the American government commits around the world.
They specifically said that on the, I don't know if it was the House floor or the
I
Senate
feel like that's a
floor,
pretty easy bipartisan view of things.
but it is very much,
Yeah.
yeah. They're the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are lockstep in that notion. But even so, it was just this, no one wanted it. No one was happy about it. Certainly not young voters who, they're the people you're trying to get. And Trump so far, as we've seen with his last election, did just that. And now here's another chance to cozy up to them even more. Here's this ban that you guys all use. The Democrats, Joe Biden, wanted to get rid of it. Here I am saving it. Look at me. And also turning it around as to appease the people who are upset with TikTok being around because it's owned by a Chinese company in doing the joint venture bid. Is China going to hop in the United States with that? I don't exactly know. Most likely not. So a lot of this seems performative right out the gate, but he does have an incentive to keep it going. It's just a matter of, will Trump be consistent? He is not known for consistency. So, as you can clearly see from years ago, him being virulently against it. Because at the time, the winds were that this is a Chinese, influence on the nation and we got to get rid of it. Now it's people love this thing. Why are we getting rid of it? Everyone should be able to do what they want on social media because this is the land of the free. Woohoo! And now it's a win for him. And some
To my memory, this is the first time I've ever, we talk about how digital services are banned or movies or whatever are banned in other countries all the time.
Yes.
There's a lot of countries where like PSN is unavailable because the country doesn't like it or whatever.
India had banned TikTok, and they were very authoritarian.
This is the first time to my memory I've seen America do it.
It is, yes. That's why it was also kind of alarming because we've never bothered doing this before. Now all of a sudden, on the pretext of security, we're caring about it now.
Now we can sit here and theorize what's going to happen with this next presidency and how the guy in charge is going to act around this. Generally, I think TikTok is done as far as America is concerned.
Not
Now,
necessarily.
hold on. The Supreme Court voted unanimously to uphold the ban. There was no 3-4 split or 4-5 split like there normally is or whatever, right? They voted unanimously to do that. They don't do that on fucking anything. So
They sometimes will. They hear a lot of cases. This is just one we're more knowledgeable about because it's one of the smaller ones. And again, this is a bipartisan issue.
Usually there's like a 2-7, a 1-8, something like that, right? It's I've never heard of a unanimous vote in modern times, right? So to your point, sure, we'll see, and I could be wrong. I don't know every case that the Supreme Court resides over, right? I don't, but I'm of the belief what Trump is doing right now is performative. Nothing's ever going to actually be done. He never gets anything done. He personally, I believe, he lies his way to power all the fucking time.
Personally,
And then, you never know who's watching.
I
Connor.
know, yeah.
So yeah, I think TikTok's done. Like, is there a way? There's an option. Yes. We've seen the TikTok CEO was at Trump's inauguration. We've seen him be heavily pro-Trump, I think, just to keep his business alive, obviously, and so that he can make money. Because TikTok doesn't want to lose the American audience. But I also don't believe that TikTok's or ByteDance cares that much if they lose the American audience. Like, I truly, fully believe that like TikTok is global. It's worldwide. You see it right now on the TikTok right now. The Australians, the Canadians, the Europeans, the Russians, they're all going like, whoa.
Yeah.
They're gone, But all of those countries I just named, America is a small piece of the pie. It's not the biggest piece of the pie. It's not the one that's making them all the money. It's just not.
The thing that kind of turns that around on its head is the theories that are coming out from more astute political analysis, which is that all of this was planned.
Yeah, call me a dumbass. I like that.
No,
Yeah.
that's not true. This is unconfirmed stuff. We don't know if this is true,
Right.
but there are mutterings that all of this was performative and planned. TikTok's going to potentially benefit from something that Trump will do. I mean, he cozies up to oligarchs, to billionaires.
That doesn't make sense for the Democrats on the Supreme Court. They don't care about that. Or
They don't.
They're anti-Trump all the way.
But Democrats they're not the majority anymore. They're out now.
Right, but the Supreme Court voted unanimously.
But that's in regards to a ban that was up for debate, and that was brought to them by TikTok itself. So the president himself can still, what the Supreme Court thinks on the matter can become irrelevant. If he decides to say, I'm doing this new thing, which is going to be unbanning TikTok, you can certainly bet on the Republicans who had voted for it originally to not be for it anymore because they're Trump sycophants. That's basically what the Republican Party has come. They congregate around Trump. So it makes sense that if they were to do some secret behind-the-scenes deal that TikTok would inevitably start benefiting from, and Trump would also benefit from a perspective standpoint, from a public opinion standpoint, that both companies can walk away, both company and Trump can walk away both satisfied, which is possible. It's
possible.
Which would, ensure TikTok would stay around, but not through the best means, not from a principle of people should be able to use what apps they want because it's America and you can do as you please as long as you're not harming anybody else. It's not based in that ideal. It's based off personal gain, regardless of how this all develops.
Sure, fair. All of that is possible. That sounds like a level of competence that I do not believe the U.S. government is capable of, and I especially do not believe the president is capable of.
The U.S. was capable of it, apparently. This has nothing to do with video games.
That was me transitioning back to video games.
You know what? I'll let you do that.
Now, to talk about Marvel Snap, which was one of my favorite games of the year that it came out, 22, I believe. Marvel Snap being banned or getting caught up in this is very unfortunate. As of right now, the servers are still down. We checked right before we started recording. And so, we're just kind of waiting and seeing if we can get that back, of course. I believe it will. This seems so TikTok focused, and I don't think the little guys like this matter so much. Now, there's a chance that like the little guys matter so little that like it's not even worth like getting it fixed. You know what I'm saying? But I believe TikTok is really the only ByteDance company that's going to permanently disappear from the United States market. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. I believe Marvel Snap will be working again within the next 2 weeks maximum, right?
Yeah. Well, they said 12 hours from the point. Like they made a tweet. It was today at like it had. I when I was doing the story, it would have been like at 9 around then, and they said, "Hey, in 12 hours, it'll be back up. We're just having to."
Okay.
Get our
So even
systems
by the
back.
time you hear this episode, that information might be outdated.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy that Marvel Snap went anyways.
Yeah.
And let's expand that line of thinking, right? Which is where I wanted this topic to be anyway. So clearly, the American government allegedly is very much against the Chinese government having access into the civilians' information, right? What's the most popping game right now? Talked about it already.
Popping game. You
Yeah.
made it like
What's the most popping game right now? What game is popping? Nope. More recent. Just came out. December 9th. No, come on.
Marvel Rivals.
There you go,
Oh, you're
Marvel
right, yeah.
Rivals,
They're
yeah.
owned by a Chinese company.
Yeah, they're owned by a Chinese company, Connor. Yeah. A different Chinese company,
Yeah.
but still developed by and owned by a Chinese company, right?
Well, yeah, but
so
it's not off the chopping block.
for right now,
It's not off. the chopping block.
Listen, bro. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. If Marvel Snap can go, Marvel Rivals can go, and that's when I think the American people riot.
That'll be the moment, wouldn't it be?
This country's full of fucking idiots. You voted the wrong way. You fucking jackasses. Fuck Donald Trump. Moving on.
You're upset.